Hi guys, welcome. So today I'm going to be explaining why do ENFPs like woo stuff and like random types of knowledge or random things that don't really have a logical basis. I'm going to be explaining all of that. So let's start with answering the first question. Is it just insanity? Probably a little bit. I think it's a little bit of insanity, but nothing's fun without a little bit of insanity. So yeah, there's that. And I think what most people don't understand about ENFPs is that it's a different form of intellect. It's not logic as you see it. It's this intangible form of logic that you can only access with a very specific gateway. And somehow, like ENFPs have these components within them to enter and see that world. It's like a door that only, okay, not only, but well, that ENFPs are allowed to see and walk through, interact with. So when nobody else sees that door and sees the world that it opens up, you kind of end up looking insane. Insane a lot of times, a lot more times than you would like. So, what am I trying to say? They like woo stuff because honestly, it helps them tap into this place that they've always kind of regularly visited but didn't really know the place of. It's like not realizing there's a border between two countries and uh, basically frequently traveling between the two and then realizing, oh, you're saying that I'm not from this country, or you're saying that most people don't do this. It's that type of thing of like, um, you're basically born with that intuition already within you, um, and a sensing kind of thing. Like you can sense things in a different way than normal people, and because like especially when you're younger, there's not that many contexts given to you to explain these things. Um, you can kind of go off on your own mind trying to find out what is going on. And usually one day you find out that someone else has explored the same avenue. And you're like, oh, yes, I recognize this pattern. Or, yeah, this is the same route I would have taken. And you're like, okay, wow, there's so much more. There's so much more to this than just the physical. Like it feels like what happens with helium balloons. Like they're filled up with so much air, and like this air is energy to explore and float away to whatever area, whatever place in the air that they want to go, and then getting that string, wrapping it around, and then sticking them to the ground, basically grounding them. So, yeah, ENFPs, when they find ooh stuff, it kind of helps coordinate this new world that they've always kind of been aware of. Like, it's not just, okay, they're more gullible. It's, oh, this is a different way. And usually, like, I like try to compare to alternative forms of medicine, or like the more, what are the more Eastern forms of therapy and more Eastern practices, which seem to work, but because Westerners like to explain things, they can't seem to explain this. So I would equate the ENFP mentality to, yeah, more of a Eastern philosophy or Eastern way of living than a Western, because like you just find yourself doing these things and knowing these things and walking into these practices and discoveries and not necessarily having to explain them, but almost having to respect them as an entity that is valid, as something that is as real as anything tangible, you know? And that's what I would say it is. It's a respect for the intangible. So I think from an early age, like ENFPs, you realize that, okay, there's more. Even if it's not like spiritual things, like for me, I don't really interact with spirits and stuff. I don't see spirits, I don't feel them, I don't, whatever. But sometimes like occurrences are more than coincidence, and sometimes I don't trust my own logic, but somehow there's ways to find and tap into these pieces of information that, to be honest, sometimes it feels like my brain has not really caught up to figuring out why I've reached that conclusion, but somehow like that information has been plopped into my head and been like, oh, this situation is sketchy, or this person is gonna be a what they're this, or they're um, inclined to be like this. Like such things, sometimes you don't really know why you know them, and sometimes there's not even signals to why you know these things. There's not even signals showing you anything about this thing, but here's the information. So yeah, I feel like ENFPs, like the intuition, the way it works is it taps into that thing way faster than your logic can catch up. Especially when you have, I think, when you have both forms of thinking in such lower positions, it's harder for it to catch up mentally. But this thing, you perceive it before you can truly analyze it. So, as someone who's giving knowledge of your perceptions, you're very intelligent when you're serving your intuitions, because honestly, it's almost like you're recounting the events the way they happened. It's like, oh, you know, no, but this guy just walked in, and I don't know, I feel like something's off. He's gonna do something, and then he just rages out on his girlfriend, even though maybe like when he was walking in the room he was bouncy, happy, whatever. Or you don't know anything about like a place that you've just gone, and for some reason it feels like someone is looking at you, and not like specifically a ghostly thing, but it feels like un like I don't know how to explain it. Crowded, I think, like a crowded feeling. So some of these things you know them before your logic catches up, And some would call this stupidity. I might sometimes do, but to be honest, it's just a different form of intellect that just works in a different way. And because our world is more about explaining and more about backing up in reasons and stuff, this form of intellect is not really ideal for this world, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. That was a bit random, a bit different, but um, if you relate or if you're an ENFP or ENTP, someone who relates to anything that I said, tell me. If you disagree. But like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for joining me here, and love you, and bye.